As we're talking about, you said that the way you've gotten to where you are right now is acquisitions, and that's a path that I'm just starting down. I'm actually looking at private placement and things right now. There's investors that want to jump on board because same thing, there's processes and systems in place. I know you're saying no, but I have the end in mind too. And the end in mind is way up there.
We should talk after this.
We should talk after this, yes. But taking a look at who's out there, there's this difference too that I've seen between, and everybody likes to say, hey, when they have their own business, their own small business, the word now of entrepreneur is just kind of thrown around. And everyone feels that, this is personal opinion here that, oh, I'm an entrepreneur because I have my own business. And I learned, because there was a shifting point for me after having my own IT and then cybersecurity firm for about 5 years, there was a shifting point for me to where I really realized that I was an entrepreneur. Yeah, and that's when I started attacking everything and really believing that this thing is bigger than me. And that's how it has to be in order to continue growing, in order to continue impacting lives. That's when I even looked at doing the media that I'm doing right now. It was this transition phase to where, like you said, you didn't even realize it right away. And that resonated so much with me because even though I knew it was inside of me, I didn't really realize it even after I started out, quote unquote, on my own. Yeah, but you look at it, and I was talking with somebody the other day. This is in a group that I'm a part of, and I was explaining our industry. Because a lot of people that start in our industries worked for corporations like us. And then they shifted over and started their own gig. It could have been a side hustle that turned into something else. They could have been, doing Wi-Fi networks in a home or something like, hey, I can do this at a business too and make some more money. That's cool. That's great. But then that's kind of where they stay, and really he came up with the phrase like, oh, so most are really like owner operators. And I had always heard that term as far as like a truck driver, right? Transportation owner operator. And that's what I likened it to, or, a small manufacturing company or something like that, to where there's the owner back there literally running the machines and the fabrication equipment and everything else. But in our industry, that exists a lot to where it's owner operators. And they're doing the same thing right now, just for themselves, making the same money with more pressures than what they were working for a corporation. I don't know how you see that, but I see that as kind of being tragic. It's like either jump all in with both feet, or it's okay, take the pressures off, because there's a hell of a lot of pressures in doing what we do and just work for somebody else. How do you feel about that?
It is tragic. And I totally agree with you. I mean, to me, it's like 95% of our industry, barring like the huge companies that are, that are buying up people like us. Like there's those, but the small, medium business, it is tragic. It's almost everybody that I come across in our market in general. And it's funny because the cream does rise to the top. And so it could be that people like you and I, it's not that there's anything wrong with those owner operators, but if they're satisfied, getting it to be into their 40s and 50s and maybe 60s and still dealing with the phone calls in the middle of the night and not being able to go on vacation and having to be on vacation with your family and you're sitting in front of your computer for the entire time and you can't break. I did all that, but there was always a vision to get out of that. The thing is, I've experienced people. I did a couple of deals over the past 5 years, and I've experienced 3 partners that came on, which are not they're no longer with me, but they came on because they wanted the bigger vision. They wanted what it is that I want, that I do, the vision that I see, and what I'm manifesting. But then when it actually came down to it, they were owner operators. They couldn't get their heads out of the business. They couldn't shift their mindset. They needed this ego-driven need to control and to be involved in every little thing because that's all they know, instead of doing their jobs, right? So ultimately, I had to buy them all out. They're all gone. It's just me again. And the reason for that, and I learned something very valuable, but the reason, number one, is because they have that mindset. I look at it as it's sad in a way because they'll never go any further than where they are today. Because their own mindset is in their way. It doesn't mean for them that it's bad. They may be perfectly content and accepting of that, and that's okay.
That is very much okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's totally okay. But my vision, and it sounds like your vision, is way bigger than that. So when you talk about a visionary, we just wired different. Like we are able to get out of the way of fear. We're not driven by the fear. We can pivot. We can be decisive, and we can make things happen, like doing deals.